Okay, g'day guys. So today we are talking about the incline dumbbell fly. Fantastic exercise in order to stimulate that chest and get it really, really well developed. And in particular, with our chest, we're going to be targeting the clavicular head, which is the head of the pec that sits up and around our collarbone or our clavicular, or our clavicle, not clavicular. Okay, so what are the first things we want to know when it comes to heights of the bench that we're setting up? The literature suggests that we want to be, or the most activation that you're going to get through your clavicular head is at a 45-degree angle. Okay, so this is the angle that we're set up in. However, I've had some really, really good experiences on just going that touch lower. So if you're able to go, you know, say you're in this position here or that position there, it's not really that big a deal. Okay, you can manipulate how high you go, but we're obviously after the stimulus of the clavicular head, and you should be feeling a great deal of pressure, or not pressure, but tension through this. Oh no, not through the upper portion, because you can activate all your chest. But yeah, it's where you're going to feel majority of it going through your chest rather than those shoulder joints. Obviously, the higher we come up the rungs, the more we're going to engage these shoulders and bring them into the game. So 45 and maybe touch below are fantastic ranges for you to set up in. With the bottom section of the bench, I like it tilted up purely because then I can wedge my hips into this gap, and we'll talk about setting up for that in just a minute. But obviously, you can have it down, have it however you like. But yes, it's the angles you want to worry about. Obviously, a click or two up, and 45 is probably the most ideal position. All right, let's talk about positions when it comes to setting up. Now we know with all chest pressing or all pressing movements for that matter, we want to make sure that we create a nice stable position to pull from, especially with our dumbbell flies, because what we want to do is that we are really going to overemphasize this out phase or the stretch phase of the motion or the eccentric portion of the lift, because that's where the fly, or that's where the damage is. So we want to, the whole essence of the exercise is this stretch point. Okay, so we want to come out nice and wide. So it's all about controlling that weight in the eccentric portion. So setting up, how do we create a nice flat back and a nice stable back in order to fly from? Well, our scapula, let's pretend, this is a very big over-exaggeration, but it sits like this on our back, okay? Our lats attach to the bottom, and so we want to pull this scapula back and down, right? And this is going to create a nice flat back in order to fly from. So what you're looking for is something along the lines of this. So we're going to go back, down, and you can see when I do this how pronounced my chest comes. If you're like me and maybe not have the greatest posture, and you sit maybe a little rounded, you can see how much my shoulders are so much further ahead of my chest. Now this is where people get themselves in issues, and they don't like this exercise because they get all jammed up in here. Is that if we lay just normally, or with our flat back rather than an arch back, we're going to really hammer and bash these anterior delts, and they're just going to get overloaded, sore, and just end up hating this exercise. So we need to open the chest, and then obviously with the exercise we want to come right out nice and wide and really stretch out this pec. Okay, so setting up. What I'm doing here is I'm thinking about pulling my shoulder blades back and down. The great thing about this angle is that gravity is on our side, and then we can wiggle our way back down if we haven't quite hit the spot. With our feet, I'm actually going to suggest that you place them underneath your backside. This will have a chain effect, come right up and help you get into thoracic extension. Now I understand that some people might have lower back issues, so if that's the case, go flat-footed. It should take a little bit of that tension away from your back, but again, if you can get your feet underneath your bum, by all means do so, because it'll bring things in like leg drive, although with your feet flat on the ground you can still generate leg drive. But if you can have your feet here and drive your heels down, I just find that you get a lot better leg drive than you would, say, if you're just flat-footed. Okay, so This here is the position that I'm looking for. So my feet are underneath my hips or underneath my backside, okay? And my shoulder blades are back and down, and it feels like I'm on a nice flat back, and I can open right up and execute the lift just how I want it to do, how it to be. Right, let's talk about how to get these dumbbells up, especially when it's a heavy weight. A lot of people make an absolute meal of this, and it's outrageous. First things first, if you're spotting someone and they do need help lifting it up, don't go the elbows, okay? I know everyone goes, oh, you know, from the elbows, from the elbows. When you are helping them in the initial lift to get the weight up and into the air, okay, grab the wrists. And the reason being is because that's where the weight is, and that's the part they're struggling with, okay? So if you grab here, or maybe not the dumbbell, but you grab the bottom of the wrist, you brace that wrist, you bring it up, okay, and then let go slowly, because then their stabilizing muscles will have to take over the load. But yes, when you're coming up, grab here. And the reason being is because if you're pushing from the elbow, it's still subjected to this much range or this much movement, whereas where if you grab there, you know, it can't really go anywhere. Right? You've got control, and that's your purpose as a spotter. So grab the wrists. Right, let's talk about setting up or how to get it up if you don't have a spotter. What we're going to do is use our legs as a lever. So we're going to place it right at the end, and one quick motion, we're going to go flick one, flick two, down, and then we're going to slide back down. Okay, so we'll go through that. So first point of call with it on the ground, we're going to deadlift it up and up onto the knees, sit down. Okay, now what we're going to do from this position is get a little bit of momentum, and with our legs we're going to drive back, 1, 2, and fall back. Now if anyone knows anything about jiu-jitsu, if you pin someone's chest, it's awfully hard to get out of, okay? Especially if you're placing all that weight down, it's really hard to move. So that being said, we can use this weight to our advantage and manipulate our leg position and just rest it here, so that now I can slide my shoulder blades back and down, and place my feet underneath my backside. I've got good starting position, right where I want to start from, and we're just going to press it up. Okay, so we're in position, and we're just going to wiggle around, make sure we're in. Cool. All right, now from this position, I am going to be opening my chest up and coming out, and then up towards my eyes. Try not to get too far forward, so a lot of people can find themselves right here. We're just going to go right above our eyes, and keeping that weight coming through the clavicular head. Okay, so come down nice like so, and up. Now, because of the way the pec inserts on the chest, we're actually going to go from an up position to a down position. So it's almost here, down, and back up, okay? Here, down, and back up. And you can see that that works with the clavicular head, that if I come up like this, you can see the head come in and give us a nice contraction, versus if I come in this way, it's probably not as contracted at the top there, all right? So, again, start on the knees, and we're gonna flick 1, 2. It's a bad example, but all right, shoulder blades back and down, feet underneath the hips, drive up. Now, also a little trick is at the bottom point, all right, so in this position here, I'm gonna come up with my pinkies and drive them together, okay? And you're going to get a far better or far greater stimulus through the pecs by just simply creating a slight little rotation at the top, okay? Just like that. Bang. And that there, team, is how you want to go about executing your dumbbell incline fly.